Hey, it's Aaron Stell, Technology Marketing Director with WFG National Title, giving you a quick tip on how to go through and drive more people to either an open house or an event you're putting on. So first thing we're going to do is we're here in the Ads Manager, and I'm going to say Create Ad. So I click here in the top right. And here you got to decide where you're going to send them. So the two real easy ways to do this is first either say raise attendance at your event, which is basically creating an event within Facebook. So that's through their events page. Otherwise, if you're going to be doing something where you want to give them more information on the house or the event, you can go to send people to your website. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use Zillow in this case, but if you have your website, I would use your website. But find the house that you're going to be holding open that has all the information, the pictures, obviously your information, and then go up here on the top and copy this long URL, and we're going to say send people to your website, and then place that in there. And then what it's going to do is it's going to pull in some information on that page that you're putting in there. And then we can dictate the audience that we want to put in. So with this open house, we probably want to include a specific zip code. So let's say 97210, because we want people in Northwest Portland. In this specific one. Otherwise, you can add in things like Portland. You can just say a specific city. So say we wanted all of Portland. I can click on Portland, Oregon like this, and that's going to give a large range. And it also by default says plus 25 miles. So if that's want the whole area, you do that. Otherwise, you can zoom that in and out or say just this city only. So I'm going to say this city only, that zooms it in. Then you get to come down here and you can do things like age. You're like, well, I don't think a 18-year-old is probably going to be buying a $600,000 house. So I'll go ahead and say 28 to 65. And then the detailed targeting is where this gets fun. So in here, if you want people that make a certain amount of money, you can come in and say things like net and just start typing net. Now you can see in here, you can see net worth, and that's all in here. And then the other thing you can start typing in is something like income. So if we type income, you can see the people that we want. Okay, they need to make at least, we'll say $75,000. So we'll say 75 to 100. Then we'll say 100 to 125, and we're going to put all of these different people in there. So that's the way to actually target via a certain amount of income that they have. So if you go through these different categories, there's a whole bunch of other ones you can do. If you say browse, then you can just look at things like, demographics, education, financial, home. If you get into home, they can even say home ownership, home type, things along those lines. So there's some pretty interesting stuff that you can find in there. But once you get all of that done, you just come down and you're like, okay, I don't want this one necessarily in the audience network or the Instagram feed, but we do want it in the desktop feed in the mobile news column, so we'll do that. I'm always going to do mine on a scheduled time, so I'm going to click this button here and say, all right, that is May 25th today, we'll start it at 8 a.m. But I don't want it to run for a month. I only want it to run for, we'll say, let's say today's the 25th. We want it to run the 28th because we'll say that's when our event is. And we want that one to go all the way through 2 p.m. when our event actually gets over. So we've got that in there, and then you can change this. I'm going to say, okay, I want like $5 a day. That seems a little more reasonable than 20. And then I'll scroll down and say continue. And at this point, we got to actually create the ad. So I want to do a single ad. It didn't pull anything through from the website, so I can click on images here. The nice thing is if I've got a really nice image for the house, I can just say upload right there. Otherwise, they have a bunch of free stock images, so I can just type in something like house in here. It'll give me different options. We'll say it looks something like this one. So we're going to do that and say done. So now we've got a house. It will give you the preview of the ad over here. So you say, okay, this is the picture. This is what it's going to say. If I want to change any of this text, I go right over here and I want to say great house. And then if you scroll down on this a little bit, you can see this 2804 and this is the same. So we can say come to this open house. we'll make a type. And so that'll change this text. And then this link here, if you don't want that to say by Zillow, you can change that up also. But I traditionally wouldn't worry about that. Let them know where you're going. So after that, you just hit place order and you are ready to go.